Welcome everybody to this great webinar, and great to see everybody out there. We've been doing this on a weekly basis, and it's kind of fun to see everybody and see everybody that they're doing well. If you don't know, I'm Bruce Rosenblatt. I own Senior Housing Solutions, and we provide a very valuable service. We provide advice for people who are thinking about senior housing, and we help people through that decision process. The best part about our services is that my services are 100% free. So everybody loves free. And so my services, my advice, which I've been doing this for over 30 years, is 100% free. So if you know somebody who is thinking about senior housing, please have them reach out to me, or please reach out to me, and I'm happy to assist you. You know, it's with pleasure that we're talking about, it's a very timely topic today about hurricane preparedness. And, you know, we have our guest speaker, Marla Ottenstein, and Marla and I had an event scheduled for, I think it was yesterday. It was a big thing with the Naples Daily News, but unfortunately things got canceled. So we decided to do a webinar instead. So Marla, the show is going to be yours, and I'm sure you have a lot of insight to share with people and give people a lot of valuable tips, but maybe you could tell people a little bit about what you do on a day-to-day basis.
Great, thank you. But before I begin, if everybody would just mute your telephones, please, that would be great. And Josephine, there's a button for you to, I can mute you.
Yeah, I got him.
Okay. All right. It's just a little bit easier if we don't have telephones and TVs going. So my name is Marla Ottenstein. I'm a professional organizer, and I have been in business for 11 years doing this. It's not a hobby, it is a business. So people, when they meet me for the first time, they go, oh, you're an organizer. You can clean my closets. And I like to tell people that I'm not a maid. That I actually will clean as I go, but what I do is I help people organize their lives. And it's not just a closet, a pantry, a kitchen. I help them declutter. I help them consolidate and decide what they need, what they don't need. I will on occasion help people pack up their home as part of a move, but it's also part of the selling process. So if I'm working with somebody who has a lot of clutter, a large or small home, we go through everything. We want to make the house clutter-free. We want to prepare the home to be shown, and which also means packing up a lot of the knickknacks that you have around all the time, and just setting it aside, be it a storage room temporarily or a garage, but we want people's homes to show the best that they can. That's my landline, and you know what that is? That's a robocall. So I apologize. I don't know how to turn off the landline. 2 more rings, it'll be over. But the other thing I do is I work with a lot of older people who, if they're widowed, they lose a loved one, they don't know where to start with the paperwork. And that is a big part of what I do, helping people decipher the paperwork. Many times a loved one will die and the wife, for example, won't know the first thing about passwords or bank accounts or anything. So I help people.
Hi Marla, this is Samantha over at Glass Doctor.
Sorry, wait. Oh, this is the craziest thing, okay?
Between 8 and 9:30 for the install on your shower. If tomorrow's still
Wait.
for you, no need.
Samantha, I'm on another line. I got it. See you tomorrow. Bye. Okay, that is really funny. I apologize. After my whole thing, please turn off your phones. Anyway, but I do help people with their paperwork, which is such an important thing because you look at the demographics, and we're all going to die. And a lot of people who are transitioning into assisted living or work with Bruce need to get their paperwork in order. So that gives you an idea of what I do. I am not a move manager. I am an organizer. I know how to put things back in an organized fashion so that it's ergonomically comfortable. But as I said, I will help people move, and I have clients all over the United States. But my gist of my business is to help people get organized, to simplify processes, and to make it so that they can enjoy living and not have to wake up every day and say, oh my goodness, my life is a mess. So today we're going to talk about hurricane preparedness, and we're also going to have a Q&A afterwards. Correct, Bruce?
Correct.
All right, and you'll pace me if I need to slow it down or go faster. A lot of what I'm going to discuss today, you don't have to write down, ladies and gentlemen, because you are all going to be provided with a PDF to the ultimate hurricane checklist. Okay? Mine is laminated because I keep it in my hurricane box. Okay? But don't worry about writing down. The checklist is broken into many parts: standard essentials, optional essentials, as far in advance as possible, 1 week before the storm, 3 days before the storm. You get the idea, okay? So I'm going to start with a couple of things, standard essentials being the first. So when you look at the checklist, there are little boxes on the side where you can just check off. You literally can go online or go to Target or to Lowe's, and you can get a cart and you can fill out the first section. You can get everything in the first section, one-stop shopping, okay? So of course, everybody knows you need flashlights, not just one. A lot of people like to have a headlamp also for reading, or God forbid there be a storm, it will help you get around. You also need a lot of batteries. Everybody knows that though, right? But most people don't prepare by having the right size batteries. So as you're getting ready, try to narrow it down to no more than 2 sizes of batteries. And please do not get rechargeable batteries, because if there's a storm and we lose electricity, how are you going to recharge your batteries, right? Another thing that I love is this. Now, this is a little lantern. It's called the Atomic Beam, and on the checklist, you will see the URL. I do not have the bulbs on because it is so bright, but it goes like this, okay? And the batteries get put in the bottom. The light is bright enough that it will light up a good-sized bedroom. And it also can hang. I have 3 or 4 of these. I love them. Sometimes they have deals online that you get 2 for the price of 1.5, just to let you know. You know, I'm showing you a couple of the things that I personally think are important, okay? Portable fans. Now, this fan is by a company called like Ottenstein, Cool. And the link is provided for you, okay? But they also have them at Bed Bath & Beyond. Now, I'm gonna move this closely. If you notice it, this one has a USB port. It's either 6 or 8 D-sized batteries. It plugs in or it takes batteries. It's fantastic. You want to get the 10-inch size, okay? And someone I know said that they put the batteries in and it lasted for 9 hours. This is great. Also, if you have any damage to your floors after a storm like I did, I took 2 of these fans and I put them right on the wood floor, and they dried up the leak. A couple other things, if you can find them, disinfectant wipes. Now, we all know because of COVID-19 that there's a rush, a mad rush on toilet paper. But I don't want you to be hoarding Clorox wipes. Don't be hoarding toilet paper, paper towels. Buy a normal amount. But you probably should buy enough toilet paper, you know, I'd say for a month. Because the period of time after a hurricane is when people will be rushing out to find toilet paper. Who would have ever guessed in this day and age that we'd be talking about toilet paper, right? But you can get these, sometimes they're gonna limit you, and this is why it's important to start shopping now for your supplies. That way you are not freaking out and frantic. Another item by that same company, O2 Cool. Y'all see that? This is wonderful. This is a little fan that goes around your neck, and it's fantastic. I was in Turkey last year. Last year. The air conditioning went out in the hotel, and I wore this around my neck, and it got me through the night. But it's great. One per family member. Don't laugh. These are baby wipes. This is just Honest brand. It's organic, whatever that means. But you can buy baby wipes, like from Publix. And the purpose of these is like a wash. You're going to have to take a little wipe down. I was without electricity for 7 days. And although I was able to dunk in a pool, these really came in handy for hygiene. Do me a favor. Don't think that these are for hygiene. These are for disinfecting. These are for hygiene. Okay? I am funny, I know this. Only Bruce is smiling. This is dry shampoo. Ladies, Bruce, you don't need this.
I don't need that.
Ladies, I am telling you, find a brand. You might have to pay a little extra for a brand that doesn't stink, okay? After 7 days not being able to wash my hair, I needed this. 2 or 3 more things, and then we're going to talk more about the list. If you don't have one already, you should buy, this is a, it's not an external backup for your computer, although you should have that. This is a battery pack. And I have several of these, and you plug them in to the wall with a cord and a USB, and you get it ready, and then you can charge your different devices if power goes down, okay? But these are things that you buy, and then you charge all these things, there's the cord, ahead of time. But it's important to have all of this stuff in one place so that you're not rushing around trying to find it, because we're going to have enough on our minds if a hurricane is coming that I don't want to have to be looking for my batteries, looking for my baby wipes, and God forbid, looking for my dry shampoo. I'm a coffee freak. Before a storm, I fill up 5 thermoses. I need my coffee. I am a bear without my coffee. Toothbrushes, I think it's this one. Wait a minute. I have a little battery-powered toothbrush. Okay, I also have some disposable ones, but it's just a little thing that I use. And last but not least, this is an old, has anybody seen one of these? You know what it is? It's a phone. I just saw a video of 2 teenagers trying to figure out how to work a rotary phone. But this is a Princess phone. And I found out about these after my first hurricane. And I have been through too many to count, okay, in the last 21 years. The most ridiculous, but also the most important thing to have is to have a landline. It's about $450 a year. You get a landline from CenturyLink. You do not want to have it bundled with your cable. Reason why, cable goes down, that means your phone is down. The reason why you need a phone like this is because there's no electrical outlet like a remote phone. This is strictly a telephone. Get the cheapest service, get the service that has no long distance, because we all have our cells, but cell towers go down. Phone wiring in most cases is underground. So if there's a hurricane and there's an emergency, you have a backup. So I pay $40 a month for peace of mind, or for people to call me when I don't want to talk to somebody on the phone. All right, so, everybody knows, as I said, so much of what's on this list, I could just go one by one, but when you see it, you're going to say to yourself, there is no way I have the time to buy everything, okay? It's not going to take you long. As I said, you just get a shopping cart, you go to Target or you go to Lowe's and you just stock up, all right? Now, big hint to tell you, I buy matches, but I also buy those hand lighters. In the old days, people would buy candles, am I right? Yep, everybody raise their hand. Open flames, no. After Hurricane Hugo, that was in South Carolina and North Carolina, there were 9 deaths, and they were deaths caused by candles where the houses burnt down. So use the lanterns, use flashlights, okay? I'm gonna give you just a few more little hints, all right, that I like. First aid kit, bug repellent. You need work gloves. So if you have a tree that falls, or if you just have debris, get a good sturdy pair of work gloves. Sometimes they're leather, sometimes, well, they're not latex. They're a heavy duty work glove. And you'll be happy that you did. Rubber boots. I went on Amazon, I bought a pair of bright yellow boots, because if you have floods, you want to have rubber boots because there might be a wire that's exposed. A hurricane is not a time for fashion, so please don't wear shorts, don't wear flip-flops, be smart, okay? I'm just looking to see a couple things. Gas cans, you can buy the UL approved gas cans. Now, I'm gonna tell you a couple things on the optional. The optional is everybody ran out and bought a generator after Hurricane Irma. I mean, everybody I know ran out and bought one. They didn't test it. I know some people that after Hurricane Wilma, they bought a generator, they never used it, they never tested it, and when Hurricane Irma hit, everything was ruined. So now is the time for us to start trying to empty our refrigerators and our freezers. I know it's tough because COVID's going on and it's not going away, but we should try to reduce the amount of stuff in our freezers. And if you know a storm is coming, start cooking. Just start cooking your food, because it's easier to take the cooked food and put it into a cooler. And after Hurricane Irma, I opened one too many freezers and refrigerators where the power had gone off and people had left town and not emptied their freezers. You might want to get an NOAA, that's the National Oceanic Association. It's, who predicts the hurricanes, and it's a little radio to let you know what's going on. But most of the time you're going to have power on your phones, your computers, and your televisions up until the last minute. Things to do in advance, something you can do today when you get up. Well, 2 things you're going to do today. Number 1, today is the last day of the tax-free hurricane tax holiday, okay? Most of the stores are only open till 8 o'clock. I don't know if there's going to be a curfew tonight, but you can buy your batteries, your flashlights, generators, things like that, tax-free, okay? But the other thing that you can do is you can go to the bank, go to the ATM, and get money. You should have about $500 in small bills. Excuse me, 5, 10s, 1s. Have this on hand for a couple of reasons. If you go to a gas station and we don't have electricity, what will happen is you can't pump gas because the pump is generated by electricity. And you can't use your ATM because that's also generated by electricity. And after Irma, all of the gas stations were supposed to update this, that everything was on a backup, but I can guarantee you it's not been done. So have some small bills. You may need to go to the grocery store once they open. Have bills, okay? Another thing that you can do in advance is to make sure your insurance policies are up to date, okay? I was with a client, I was looking through his insurance policies, and I said to him, you're only insured for $40,000 worth of personal property. I said, you've got that in shoes alone. So you're not going to insure everything, but if God forbid the roof come off your home and everything get ruined, you have to be smart. You have to think, okay, what's it gonna cost me to replace my clothes, my computer, my sofa, my dining room chairs, things like that, okay? There's also a section on your insurance policy, and it's dwelling coverage. Depending where you live, how much your home costs, you have to think in terms of what would it cost if I had to repair the interior of my home, okay? If you live in a condominium, in most cases, the interior is not covered. I'm not just talking about furniture. A dwelling is anything that is attached, okay? So dwelling would be doors, your bathtub, your kitchen cabinets. It would not be your refrigerator or your oven, because those pull out, all right? But it would be replacing anything that is attached to the wall or a wall. So you want to make sure you have sufficient coverage. This is something that I suggest my clients do on an annual basis. So this is one of the things I do. I work with them and, make sure that you've got the right coverage. Okay, don't be chintzy when it comes to protecting your valuables, your life, everything that you've worked for. Let's see. So not everybody has shutters, but right before a storm, everybody who doesn't have shutters, they run out and they buy plywood, right? I did that the first year I moved here. Those small bills came in handy when I had to tip people to put the shutters up. So it's one thing to have shutters. It's another thing to have a plan in place. How are you going to put them? How are you going to put them up? So I actually have a home watch service, and part of my service with them is that when a hurricane comes, they're going to help me close my shutters because they're really heavy and they're hard for me to close, the ones that are not electric. Another thing that can be done in advance is you should inventory your valuables, okay? This is really easy. This will take you a half hour. You take your phone. Now, I prefer taking pictures to a video. You go into each room, you take a picture of every single piece of furniture. Don't worry about labeling it. So for example, I'm in my office. I would take a picture of my desk, my chair, my drafting table, the 4 pieces of art, okay? I would open up my closet, take a picture of the right-hand side, a picture of the left-hand side. God forbid there be a hurricane and everything gets ruined, you can pinch and expand and see what is actually there. It's one thing to say, oh, I have $150,000 worth of personal property. It's another thing to be able to prove it, okay? You go into your closet, and this is a reason to have organized closets, take a picture. Vertical would be good, and you take a picture of 20 hangers, take another picture of another 20 hangers, take a picture of each shelf, each drawer. This is called cover your you-know-what, all right? It's very easy to do. What I did is I actually downloaded it to my computer and I created an album. So I have an album in the cloud. I have an album on my phone. I uploaded it afterwards. And because I'm neurotic, and I admit it, I had a thumb drive that I downloaded all of these pictures, and I sent it to a friend of mine up north. So, in fact, I sent it to my accountant. So my accountant up north has a little thumb drive with all pictures of everything in my home, okay? If you do have shutters, have them serviced ahead of time. We are in hurricane season right now. The 2nd or 3rd hurricane is on its way, but it's minor. But if you all remember, Hurricane Dorian started off as a tropical storm, and look at the devastation it did. And you didn't know up until 10 minutes before where it was going to hit. So it's really important to be prepared. If you live in a community and they have not trimmed your trees, contact your property manager. Get the trees trimmed. Don't wait until the hurricane's almost here, because you're not going to get anybody to trim those trees, okay? I keep talking about the different things you can do if you or friends are moving up up north for the summer, make sure that your refrigerator is empty, okay? Remove the blades from your exterior fans. Bring your doormats in. Bring your little statues and gnomes and all the stuff in from your pool. Or make sure that you have a home watch service.
Okay.
Whoops, you there? I just lost somebody. Can you all hear me? Just kind of raise your hand.
We're fine.
Great, okay. Make sure to have a home watch service. I can't tell you how many people I had calling me, asking me to go, can you get my wreath? Can you get my little decorative dogs? And guess what? Next time, I don't care. Those decorative dogs, I'm not gonna save them. When hurricanes coming, everyone's out for themselves. Big thing is, if you're due for a car service, these are all things you can do in advance. Get your car serviced. Make sure that all your liquids are up to date. Make sure your tires are at the right pressure. And then during hurricane season, I keep gas in my car. A lot of people that are frantic and go to the gas stations, they're just going to get 1 gallon and they're causing havoc. They're waiting in line for 3-4 hours, using up the gas, and the people who really need gas can't get gas. So keep your tank full, or at least half full, and as a hurricane gets closer, go and fill it to the top. Here's a big thing. Don't wait until the last minute to decide if you're going to evacuate. Make a plan. Sit down with your family and decide, hey, if a big one's coming, if it's a 3, 4, or 5, what are we going to do? Are we going to leave town? And if you are going to leave town in advance, you can pack little duffels for everybody and have a hurricane kit ready to go. If you're going to stay, stay, but know what your plan is. Now, which brings me a couple of things. Don't be alone, okay? You don't want to be alone. I don't know how many people here have lived through a hurricane. It's very stressful. When Hurricane Wilma was coming, I was up north with my mother driving down the coast, and it was headed for Naples. I actually drove with my mother to Naples to get my dog, and the next thing you know, it turned and it went toward the East Coast, where Bruce's family is, where my family is. I get to my mother's house and I said to her, hey Mom, are you set for a hurricane? She's lived in Florida for 40 years. And she says, oh, I'm prepared. I said, okay, where's the water? She goes to her refrigerator and she comes out with a 4-pack of Perrier, the little bottles. I said, okay, and what about a flashlight? She had a flashlight attached to her key ring. Is anybody laughing? It wasn't funny when I had to go to Walmart at midnight to get these supplies. And of course, nobody had them. It was hell. Came home, we had a couple of her neighbors come to the house, the apartment, and the door jamb popped and the door started to come in. 4 of us, not my mother, but 4 of us held that door in place while Hurricane Wilma pounded the front of my mother's home. The funny thing is that it wasn't until 4 months ago that she finally had the door repaired. And even though I told her, I'm a girl, I don't know anything, but my brother finally said, you've got to get the door fixed. So she's been living with a broken door and no door jamb. So don't hold off on doing home repairs either, okay? On the back side of this, it talks about, and I don't want to bore you because I bet you a lot of people have questions, but it talks about what you should do a couple days before the storm, the day of the storm. I want to talk about something very important, air conditioning and television, okay? And refrigerator. The day before, a couple days before a hurricane is coming, start making ice, okay? Start making ice, putting it in Ziploc bags. The reason why I like this system versus those hard ice packs is because ice is pliable. You can squish it down into the nooks and crannies of your cooler, okay? Start making ice. The day before a hurricane, crank your refrigerator up to the coldest setting, okay? Your refrigerator and your freezer. I also want you to crank your air conditioning down. Make it really cold, okay? Uncomfortably cold. When the hurricane is on its way, and you know it, and the second lights start to flicker, all right? The second you start hearing a lot of thunder, seeing lightning, unplug your refrigerator. Don't open it unless you really need something, okay? Unplug your television. Unplug any small appliances, okay, including your computer, and turn the circuit breaker off for your hot water heater and your air conditioning system. This is really important. I found out the hard way, okay? Now, this is on the list, but I'm going to read it, okay? This is on the list. The day of the storm, you are going to turn your air conditioning system and all of the circuit breakers off. We're going to turn the air handler off first, followed by the condenser. After the storm passes, you're going to turn your air conditioning system back on. And you're going to turn the air handler. The way you're going to do it is you're going to turn the air handler and the condenser off if it hasn't been off. You're going to wait 10 minutes and then you're going to turn them back on. Don't rush into doing it and keep it at a normal heat like 74. In other words, you don't want to shock your air conditioning system back into life because it will break, okay? And the repair, it's a switch, got $300, but try getting a repair person over to your house, okay? All of that is on here. It tells you what to do, how to turn certain things off. I want you to be sure to keep your driver's license, a set of keys, passport, checkbooks. Keep that all in a Ziploc bag. Everything is written out. The last section talks about pets. I don't care how well behaved your pets are. You must keep them on a harness, not just a leash, but on a harness and a leash. And if possible, during the storm, keep them in a crate. And if you really need to do this, they have dog Prozac. My dog's on it. Have pee-pee pads, okay? If your dog pees on the carpet, so what? It's a storm. Don't go outside, okay? Get your dog microchipped. Make sure that the dog tag is up to date, okay? These are little things that, you know, when you're getting ready for a hurricane, you're not thinking about these things. So I don't know how many people here are on Facebook, but you can go to my page, it's just Marla Ottenstein or Professional Organizer Florida, and I'm posting a hint a day on what to do for hurricane preparedness. Also, don't forget, you will be able to get a copy of the hurricane checklist. Now, I just want to remind everybody that this is for your use. You can't reprint it. It is copyrighted. You can't reprint it. You can't change it. This is for you to use. This is for you to print out and laminate if you feel like it. It's for you to be safe, okay? Feel free to send it to your friends or to your coworkers. But please just let them know this is a copyrighted document. I've worked 10 years to make it what it is now. I also want you to feel free to call me or to email me. So I'm going to send a follow-up letter to everybody. If you have a question about how to do something, the easiest thing is going to be to email me, and I will email you back within 24 hours, okay? But you'll get my email when I send you the letter. So I now want to open this up to Q&A, and Bruce, you have to tell him how to do this. You're muted.
So I'm going to unmute everybody. A couple things that I just picked up though, Marlon, thank you very much. It's extremely helpful and can't wait to get my little checklist. But you know, I have a generator, and a lot of people don't realize with the generator is that you have to have oil. People get gas, but they don't have the oil. And so, you know, get some little containers of oil for your generator.
Service every year.
And we have to call for service. They won't.
I'm going to unmute everybody, and you can ask Marla a question, or if you wanted to go chat, you can do that as well.
I want to make a comment, Bruce, about that.
Yes.
Make sure you have gas or oil, make sure it's service, but also you want to make sure that you've got a carbon monoxide monitor.
Chargeable, my battery off and chargeable for my phone.
The best way.
And I bought the thing, and it's in the plug.
Excuse me, Mr. Cohen?
So I had to switch.
Mr. Cohen, please, one person at a time talk, okay? Otherwise, it's a little challenging. But if you have a generator that's built into your home, you should also have a carbon monoxide monitor, okay? And remember, the generators are heavy, so you have to have a way to get, if you have a portable one, you don't want to keep it in your garage while it's working. You want to have it outside of your garage. So you have to make sure that you can move it. Next question, please.
So I'm gonna unmute everybody. So just kind of pay attention, because it's kind of hard when everybody's talking on top of one another. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
My question is, when will you be doing this again? Because I want to recommend it to several of my friends.
Oh, Sonia, I love you. Well, I'm going to tell you a little secret, okay? And
Okay.
Bruce was part of this. We were supposed to have had a very large hurricane preparedness event this year. It was supposed to be yesterday at Artist Naples. There were 15 sponsors in the community, including Bruce and myself and artists. They were donating the building. And we had one of our guest speakers was going to be Dan Summers, who is the director of the Collier County Bureau of Emergency Services. It was going to be a real big deal, but then along came COVID. So next year we are going to have a live presentation. Right now, we don't have plans for another webinar unless Bruce wants to set one up, and it would be my pleasure to do this, okay? But you guys were so lucky to join us today, and I'm so lucky that Bruce called me a month ago and said, I'm gonna do a couple of webinars. Would you like to participate? So the long and the short is, it's up to Bruce.
Okay, Bruce?
And Sonia, I'm recording this today, so
Yeah.
I'm going to send you a recorded version of this.
Okay,
So you'll have a recorded version of this presentation, so you can share that with your friends, and then Marla's going to follow up with her checklist that you can also share with your friends.
thank you very much.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is there anything for like a portable generator for a condo?
Who is this? Who's talking? Mrs. Cohen?
Diane. Yeah.
You need to double check with your condominium to see if it's allowed. I know that where I live, we have a generator in, in fact, it's built into our little we have a community center, a big community center for all 2,000 homes. And then in our community, we have a generator so that people can go in and be cool and charge their phones. I know that we are not allowed to have generators in our individual condominiums. So that's a question you'd need to ask. And then as far as like stoves, for example, I have a little portable propane by Coleman. It's a little camping. I hope never to use it. But it's a little portable. I know if I use it, I have to use it in the driveway. But you know, you don't want to burn up the condominium.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. More people must have.
So from a senior housing perspective, I can tell you that after Irma, and because of what happened pretty much on the East Coast, all the senior housing communities now have to have generators, and so they're very very strict in the health departments, making sure that people are compliant with the different senior housing. It's interesting because during when a storm appears, my phone starts blowing up and people saying, Bruce, get me into a place. And that becomes very challenging, especially now with COVID out there. It does take a lot of advanced planning. So I try to be accessible, but a lot of these places are not going to be immediately available.
I'm going to say, that's why if you have a home watch or a handyman, make sure that you have made arrangements with that person in advance, because you're not the only person that they're going to be putting up shutters or helping. And I'll tell you something, I tip often and I tip well, so that when a hurricane is coming, I know that I'm number one on the list. Another reason to keep bills around, but you get what you pay for.
So Marla, this is great. You just celebrated a special day the other day, didn't you?
I turned 65. Oh, isn't he sweet to remember? I turned 65 and I'm so excited. I'm on Medicare.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Hi, can I ask a question?
Sure.
Yes, Alan.
Hi, I actually work with Red Cross Disaster Services, and they do a lot of hurricane preparedness stuff. And I got to tell you that having been involved with a lot of the hurricane preparedness, that yours is one of the best ones that I've seen. And I would recommend. I'm not in your area. I'm actually in Iowa, but I go places for hurricane disaster stuff. I would recommend you getting in touch with the local hurricane disaster services.
That's who I am in touch. We do that. That's Dan Summer. That's our Bureau of Emergency Services.
Yeah, well, that Bureau of Emergency Services isn't the Red Cross, so I would call the local Red Cross and ask for the Florida Red Cross and ask for the person in charge of the state disaster services.
I just wrote it down.
And share the recording that that Bruce is making of this with them. Thank
you. Well, I have to tell you, the list has been 10 years in the making. And Dan Summers and I actually went to a hurricane preparedness center seminar that he taught, walked up to him, introduced myself, and I asked him if he wanted to partner with me. And we have actually become fast friends, and we have done 4 hurricane seminars. And once I finished the checklist, he went through it and made lots of corrections. I wanted to make sure it was perfect. And every year, he and I actually update it. So I appreciate your compliment. Thank you so very much, and your suggestions.
Great, thank you.
So I'm gonna share an Irma story with you all. So I have an elderly mom, and my wife has an elderly father, and my wife and I decided before Irma to have them move in with us. And so they came with us, and I put the shutters up, and I thought I could cook and do all those right things to take care of them. And Irma came, and we had water up to our front door. We could not leave our house. We didn't have cell service. We didn't have electricity. We were out of electricity for about 2 weeks, but we had water like all the way up into our driveway. We could not leave. And so, looking back, even though I thought that was the right thing to do, is watch over our parents, it was really the wrong decision, because if there was an emergency, if there was, somebody having a, heart attack, or if there was some type of medical emergency, we had no way to care for them. We had no way to leave the house. We had no way to call 911. And so, looking back, that was not the best decision. And now we know that, they're not going to stay with us next year or whenever this happens, because it just was not the right decision. So, I would say, people get a little bit stubborn. They say, I'm not going to leave, and I'm not going to evacuate. And you may want to rethink that, because, it's just a house, and it's just you can replace a house or a roof, but you can't replace your life.
Well, Bruce, I want to if there's not another question, I want to make a couple comments that I I live by, okay? And
Denise,
I
you have a
agree with
question?
Bruce.
Hold on, Denise. Hold on, Denise. You have a question? Hold on, Denise. Hold on.
Oh, there's Denise.
Okay, Denise, go ahead. No. Can't hear you.
Wait, I'm gonna unmute her. Try it now. Try it now, Denise.
No.
Bruce, ask her to write it in the chat.
It's all right. Go ahead, Marlo. Denise, we'll have to catch up with you later.
A couple other things. I just want to sum this up. Have a plan. Okay, have a plan. Don't wait until the day of the hurricane to have that plan. All right. Don't be alone. During Hurricane Irma, I actually had 9 people stay in my home, but my plan was to go someplace else, which I did. And I stayed there, but thank goodness I had 9 people stay in my home because they didn't have any place to go. And when the hurricane shutter blew off the side of my house and the water came in, 5 people put the door back on the track. But my plan was, and I never faltered, my plan was to go to someone's house. And I was with them. And I didn't change my mind midway. So have a plan, stick to it. Stay calm. Okay, you know, when we were all told that we had to stay home, we all did the mad rush to the grocery stores and toilet paper and no toilet paper. Stay calm, stay focused. Use the hurricane checklist, go through it one at a time. I promised to get it to you today so you can take advantage of the tax-free holiday. Don't multitask. Mr. Cohen?
Yeah.
Turn him off. Don't multitask. Believe it or not, if you do one thing at a time, it will help you stay calm and stay focused. If you do 2 or 3 or 4 things at once, you're going to get discombobulated, okay? Be methodical. Once again, one thing at a time. Don't be complacent. This is going to be a very active hurricane season. They are expecting 16 to 19 storms. 9 of those are going to become hurricanes. 5 of those are going to be a category 3, 4, or 5. 1 of those is expected to hit land and it's going to be very destructive. Okay? And as I said, you don't know where it's going to hit. So be prepared. Don't be complacent. Don't think that just because you live in a home that you have a brand new roof, that brand new roof is going to withstand a hurricane. Okay? Don't think that just because you have hurricane double windows, that they're not going to shatter. You know, it can happen. The other thing is be patient with yourselves. Be patient with others. You have to understand that everyone is going through a lot right now. We have COVID, we have hurricane season, we have life, we have everything that goes on a daily basis. So if you find that you're getting overwhelmed by things, stop what you're doing, have a glass of water, a cup of coffee, relax, take a walk, and everything you need to do is still going to be there. Come back to it, but be patient with yourself. And above all else, please be kind. Know that everybody else, we're in this together, okay? We're Florida strong. We're in this together. It's not easy. So all I can say is be patient with others, with yourself, be kind, and also know that we're going to get through this. If you live in Florida, you have hurricanes. If you live in Colorado, you have avalanches. We have the luxury of being able to prepare in advance, and that is what is so important. So I'm done talking, Bruce.
Well, that's great, Marla. Thank you very much. And hold this, there's two chats here. Hold on. So Denise says, Marla, two quick questions on the list. How long do batteries last? Water tends to dissipate. Do you know how much time when stored? And then Bruce, what special provisions do you recommend for seniors, especially medications, doctors, etc.? Any special help for disabled? What if someone is on hospice? Do you know? Do they come out?
I'll answer my part first, which also has a little bit to do with the medicine. If a hurricane is coming, most pharmacies will let you get 1 month in advance of your medicines. So I know I've got allergies. When the COVID started, I went to Publix and they were great. They gave me 2 months worth of all my allergy medicine. You just have to ask, but make sure that you have at least 30 days worth of your meds. And if you have syringes, anything like that, make sure you have that. Make sure you have your eyeglasses. As far as batteries, you can look on the side of a battery and it'll tell you the expiration date, which doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to last that long or not last, but you can test them. I mean, I have a lot of batteries and they're good through 2027, but throughout the year I test them. You know, I open up one package and I'll use some. And the other thing to make sure is that the LED light hasn't gone out. So in some of these flashlights, well, Bruce has these wonderful little flashlights he gives to people. They're wonderful. And I've had mine for 3 years and the LED is still there. But, oh, this is regular. Make sure the bulbs work. So the batteries might work, but not the bulbs. That's a biggie. As far as water, Denise, what I do is I'm a single person, but I have the rule of thumb, and this is on the list, okay? I'm gonna read it to you. The rule of thumb: drinking water for humans and for pets, 4 gallons per person and per pet per day for 14 days. Now, the Red Cross suggests 7 days, but I have on here 14 because we had a lot of homes without electricity, without running water for 14 days during Hurricane Irma. Any water, Denise, that I have from last year, I'm using up, and I bought all fresh. But, you know, wet is wet. The other thing is I start saving gallon jugs from my milk, and I save those for flushing the toilets. And I've got about 10 of those in my garage. And before a hurricane comes, I just fill those with water. Some people fill their bathtub. I just fill these jugs. And, you know, be careful when you go to the bathroom. You don't have to flush every time.
Yeah, the old saying, if it's yellow, you let it mellow. If it's brown, flush it down.
That's what I was going to say, but I'm glad you said it.
And the second part, Denise, you know, and I think it was, thank you for that question, but, you know, there was a lot of lessons learned by Irma, and, you know, people who had home healthcare people before a hurricane, well, these home healthcare people have families and they have husbands and they have kids, and they're not going to show up. And so, you know, you might have someone helping you out in your home right now as a home healthcare person, but you have to recognize that that person probably is not going to show up during a storm. They're going to probably, you know, they probably are going to have to evacuate somewhere, probably to a shelter, and they're going to, you know, with all their kids and their sisters and brothers and their husbands, you know, it's not, you know, you can't count on that. Hospice, you know, they will not come out to your house during a storm. So, you know, these are the things you have to recognize and prepare for. So good question, Denise. Thank you very much. And
Thanks,
I'm
Denise.
trying to, Marla, and to end this, I'm trying to remember what it is, but there's like a little cute little saying about like July, you know, June, get ready, July, you know, November, it's over. I just don't know the sequence of every month you're supposed to be.
I don't even know that one.
I'll have to share.
Bruce,
Yeah.
that's no longer true with what global warming has done to the hurricane season, because they
Okay.
were already saying that the season started in mid-May rather than the 1st of
Yeah.
June, and it's going to go stronger and longer.
Okay, good to know. Well, thank you all very much. Next week, and she's actually on this call, we have Michelle Tafolia, and which I think is really relevant because she's going to talk about how we can become emotionally strong. And she's great. She helps out a lot of people out on the A list out in California. And so she's a wonderful person, but she's going to teach us and give us some insight about how we can become emotionally strong, especially during a crisis, and how we can prepare ourselves to, be emotionally strong during these different times. So please join us. I'll send you an invite to that. Stay well, everybody. Stay healthy. And it's great to see everybody. It's my pleasure, doing these webinars and having a lot of fun. I'm learning a lot of different things, and hope you all are as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you everyone for attending.
Thank you, Marla.
Thanks.